Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to discuss about OET Listening Part C. In OET Listening Part C, you get total 12 questions. Okay. In Extract 1, you have 6 questions, and Extract 2, you get again 6 questions. Total altogether 12 questions. In OET Listening Part C, you need more concentration. Okay. This is a continuous conversation. You have to concentrate, you have to focus more, you need more practice of concentration, you cannot distract. Okay, so because it is a continuous conversation, you have to understand what the question is asking. Then you have to listen the audio, what are the wrong information is saying in the audio. You have to eliminate that option, and you have to, then you can reach the right answer. Okay, so you have to eliminate the wrong answers and you can reach the right answer. Okay, if you eliminate the wrong answer directly, you can reach the right answer. Okay, here you have to apply elimination technique. Okay, and second one, first one need more concentration. Second, you have to do you have to do the elimination technique. In my previous video I told you about, if you hear any information or as it is same in the option in the audio, you have to you have to eliminate. It is not the right answer, it is a distraction. Okay, so you have to listen properly. It is almost saying almost same they are saying in the options, it is a wrong answer. Okay, so third one, maybe 80 percentage the options are, the 80% words are almost similar in the audio and 20 percentage are not similar. Okay, so another technique, you have to listen the audio properly. Sometimes the options match 80% and not in 20%. 20 percentage they will give some contrast, and 80% is almost same in the audio. So that is also won't be the answer. Okay, so sometimes the correct options, they will rephrase the sentence. Rephrase, they will totally give the synonyms of the audio. A total rephrase sentence they will give in the options. So you have to listen properly and what it is saying, what is the rephrase sentence they are given in the option, that will be the answer. Okay, so so one suggestion I would like to give in doing the OET listening part, see, you need more concentration here. Okay, you need more concentration, and you have to develop a skill to comprehend the audio, comprehend the information. So definitely you will get the answer. And last option, you have to find out the keywords. You have to find out the keywords in the questions. Okay, here you have to you are going to give the right options. Okay, so if you didn't understand the questions, it will be very difficult to find out the answer. So you have to find out the keyword in the question, and you have to listen any information, any rephrase sentence or any synonyms they are saying in the audio of the question. From there you will get the answer. From there you will get the answer. Okay, let's begin today's questions. um Hi.
Part C. In this part of the test, you'll hear two different extracts. In each extract, you'll hear health professionals talking about aspects of their work. For questions 31 to 42, choose the answer A, B, or C, which fits best according to what you hear. Complete your answers as you listen. Now look at Extract 1. Extract 1, questions 31 to 36. You hear an interview with a cardiologist called Dr. Jack Robson, who's an expert on Chagas disease. You now have 90 seconds to read questions 31 to 36.
Here You have 90 seconds to read question 31 to 30. So you have to utilize this time to understand the question and try and underline the keywords. Here, first question: why does Dr. Robson regard Chagas as a neglected disease? This is the keyword. Second question: Dr. Robson says that concerns over Chagas in the USA are the result of a. This is the second. Patient card magistrate recently asked Dr. Robson to test the Chagas cause. Okay, and here, what problem does doctor identify in the case of Jennifer? Okay. What does doctor say about patient called Juan? Would Dr. Robson think the short-term priority in the fight against Shaka? These are the keywords. You have to underline the keywords. Okay. You have to underline keyword within the 20-second period.
Today we're talking to Dr. Jack Robson, a cardiologist and Chagas disease specialist in the USA. Dr. Robson, what is Chagas disease and why is it referred to as a neglected disease?
Chagas is caused by a parasite called Trypanosoma cruzi. Most sufferers become infected when they're bitten by an insect, commonly known as the kissing bug, which carries the parasite.
Right.
People often don't realize they've been bitten, and during the initial phase of the infection, symptoms are normally mild or absent.
Okay.
70% of those infected never develop complications. For the other 30%, the disease tends to remain silent for a long time, often 30 years, but it eventually enters a chronic phase characterized by serious cardiac, digestive system, and neurological disorders. About 7 million people worldwide are thought to have Chagas, but it attracts relatively little publicity or funding for research. This indifference is largely down to it being primarily a disease of marginalized communities in Latin America, where it's endemic. You need resources to force significant action.
Right, I see. And are there any concerns?
See, I told you, you have to do the elimination technique. Okay. In the option number B, he said people don't realize they have been bitten by an insect carrying organism. Okay. But the symptoms will be the mild. Okay. So it is not a concern. So we can eliminate this option number B, and the option number C, he said, relatively small number of cases, that is 30% of cases, the symptom is the relatively 30 percentage of the uh, uh, 30 percentage of the cases the symptom is silent. Okay, so here also you can eliminate these two options. Okay, these two options we can eliminate. Okay, I will repeat the audio once more. The last option he said, okay, the indifference, what is the indifference? About 7 million people worldwide are thought to have chagas. Okay, he said, okay, but it attracts relatively little publicity for funding or research. Okay, after that, this indifference is a largely down to it being primarily a disease of marginalized communities in Latin America, where it is endemic. So there we need, there it is endemic. Okay, there you need resources to force significant action. Significant action means immediate action. So that is the regard is Dr. Robson is mainly discussing in this audio. Okay, regard Chagas as a, that's the reason he is saying it is a neglected disease. Okay, yeah, because of the social group it mainly affects. Okay, I will repeat the audio once more. Try to eliminate. I thought if there is any information you hear in the audio almost same, you have to eliminate. Okay, and if the some options will match 80% and 20% it is not match, that option also you have to eliminate. It is not matching 100%, but one the first option, because of the social groups it mainly affects, but he didn't directly say the social groups, but he said marginalized community in Latin America, that is completely rephrased the sentence. Okay, completely he rephrased the options. Okay, rephrased the options, and he said something because there you need significant action. That is the regard he said in this audio. Okay, I repeat once more the audio. You listen properly and find out the correct answer. Try to eliminate the wrong options. What I told you, apply the technique and eliminate the wrong option, and you can directly reach the right option. Okay, again you didn't understand, don't wait to write the option number A, choose option number A. Okay, sometimes you didn't understand the rephrase sentence. Okay, maybe you will think it is not there in the past. Okay, but he said it because of the social group. What are the social group? Marginalized communities in the Latin America. Okay, please once more.
Today we're talking to Dr. Jack Robson, a cardiologist and Chagas disease specialist in the USA. Dr. Robson, what is Chagas disease and why is it referred to as a neglected disease?
Chagas is caused by a parasite called Trypanosoma cruzi. Most sufferers become infected when they're bitten by an insect, commonly known as the kissing bug, which carries the parasite.
Right.
People often don't realize they've been bitten, and during the initial phase of the infection, symptoms are normally mild or absent.
Okay.
70% of those infected never develop complications. For the other 30%, the disease tends to remain silent for a long time, often 30 years, but it eventually enters a chronic phase characterized by serious cardiac, digestive system, and neurological disorders. About 7 million people worldwide are thought to have Chagas, but it attracts relatively little publicity or funding for research. This indifference is largely down to it being primarily a disease of marginalized communities in Latin America, where it's endemic. You need resources to force significant action.
Right, I see. And are there any concerns in the USA about Chagas?
Yes, the insect.
Okay, you got the answer. Okay, mainly affects means it is endemic there in the Latin American people. It is endemic, mainly affects. So here we need significant action. So that's the reason option number A is the correct answer. Okay. So like the way, like in this technique, you have to find out the answers in OET listening part C. I would like to give you one more suggestion. Please do the practice. Okay, consistent practice, definitely you can achieve good mark in OET listening parts. It is a skill. Okay, it is a skill. You have to develop a skill, listening skill. Listening skill. Listen more audios, medical audios. Okay, journal audios. Okay, gradually you will develop a habits. Gradually you will understand different accent, and definitely you can comprehend when you get this type of questions in you if you practice consistently. Okay, and let's start come to the next questions. Dr. Robson says that concerns over Chagas in the USA are the result of. So, when they shifted to another question, they will say the context of the question. He or she already said what are the concerns over Chagas in the USA. USA. She said the questions. Okay.
Carrying the parasite is actually endemic to the southern U.S. states. Since 1955, however, no more than 30 people have been bitten and infected while in the USA. The alarming thing, though, is that it's become apparent that large numbers of first-generation and some second-generation immigrants from Latin America carry Chagas, around 300,000.
Right.
These people won't infect others, apart from congenitally and possibly through blood transfusion, but a significant proportion end up chronically ill.
And for the benefit of our listeners, can you describe an individual?
And neurological disorders. About 7 million people become infected. In the phase of the infection, symptoms are normally mild or absent.
Okay.
70% of those infected never develop complications. For the other 30%, the disease tends to remain silent for a long time, often 30 years, but it eventually enters a chronic phase characterized by serious cardiac, digestive system, and neurological disorders. About 7 million people worldwide are thought to have Chagas, but it attracts relatively little publicity or funding for research. This indifference is largely down to it being primarily a disease of marginalized communities in Latin America, where it's endemic. You need resources to force significant action.
Right, I see. And are there any concerns in the...
See, Second question is started from is right. I see. Are there concerns in the USA about Shagas? So she started the questions. Okay, she said the contest of the second question. So from here you have to listen properly and apply the elimination technique. Apply the elimination technique. Okay. So or you will sometimes you will hear the almost same words as it is same in the audio. Okay, so maybe it won't completely match 100 percentage. Maybe it will match it to 80 percentage. If it is 100 percentage is matching, then you can select the correct answer. If it is not matching 100 percentage, you have to eliminate. Okay, I'll start the audio.
USA about Chagas?
Yes, the insect carrying the parasite is actually endemic to the southern U.S. states. Since 1955, however, no more than 30 people have been bitten and infected while in the USA. The alarming thing, though, is that it's become apparent that large numbers of first-generation and some second-generation immigrants from Latin America carry Chagas, around 300,000.
Right.
These people won't infect others, apart from congenitally and possibly through blood transfusion, but a significant proportion end up chronically ill.
And for the benefit of our listeners, can you just
Okay, Harry, what answer you got? Please message me. Here, he said, I told you apply the elimination technique. Okay, the insect carrying organism, that is the last option, and increased prevalence of the insect prevalence risk. Okay, increased prevalence of the risk which carries the disease. The insect carrying parasite is actually endemic to the southern U.S. state since 1955. However, no more than 30 people have been no more than 30 people have been bitten. So here it is written an increased prevalence of the insect which carries the disease. So it is a contradiction. Okay, but it is not matching 100%. So we can eliminate this option. Okay, after that he said, okay, the alarming thing. What is the alarming thing means the concept from here you have to listen to what is alarming thing is that it's become apparent that large numbers of first generation and some second generation immigrants from Latin America carry shagas. Okay, carry shagas around 300,000. Okay, these people these people won't infect others apart from congenitally or possibly through blood transfer. So the first option he said a rise in number of people at risk of being infected with the infected with the disease. Here it is saying people infect others. Those people won't infect others apart from congenitally or possibly through blood transfusion. Here it is a rise in the number of people at risk of being infected. So this is also wrong answer. Okay. So that is then finalize what we will get a greater awareness of how many people are they have the disease. They have the total number what is 300,000. Okay, then B is the answer. Okay, then come to the next question.
describe an individual case?
Well, this year, a Bolivian woman, let's call her Marisol, asked me if she could be tested for Chagas. She's a long-term U.S. resident, but she'd recently been on vacation in Bolivia, and at one point she had felt unwell. This often occurs with changes in diet and living conditions, and that's what Marisol assumed was the cause. She'd actually been planning to donate blood in Bolivia, but changed her mind at the last minute. Ironically, if she'd gone ahead, the screening would have detected Chagas.
I see.
Hearing from relatives that Chagas can be transmitted congenitally was what prompted Marisol to come to my clinic. She and her partner wanted to start a family, and she was scared that she might pass the parasite on. Tests then showed she did indeed have intermediate stage Chagas.
And what issues can arise in
Got it? Okay. The question is a patient called Marisol recently asked Dr. Robson to test her for Chagas. Recently asked what is that is the question. Okay, he said she want to in this option option number B she want to know whether it was safe for her to donate blood. Okay, um she had actually, the option they said, she had actually been planning to donate blood in blood, but changed her mind. See, changed her mind. So the way they have, but it is, she changed her mind. That means she wanted to know whether it was safe for her to know. No, so that's the reason it is a wrong answer. Okay, she thought she had symptoms associated with the disease. Okay, so that is also said in the passage. But she had recently in vacation and Bolivia. At one point, she had felt unwell. Okay, this often occurs with change in diet and living condition. That's what Marisol assumed with the cause. So it is said in the passage, but the question is recently. What she asked? Recently asked means prompted Marisol. Prompted the option there is a prompted Marisol to come to my clinic. She and her partner wanted to start a family, and she was scared that she might pass the parasite on. So that's the reason the option number A is the correct answer. Okay, you have to find out in this way the correct answers. Okay, next question.
Treating Chagas.
Well, another patient, I'll call her Jennifer, felt unwell following a vacation in a region where Chagas is endemic. Tests indicated she was Chagas positive. Jennifer was then referred to my clinic where we do further tests. Meanwhile, she looked up Chagas online and understandably was distressed by what she read. "Why me?" she once said to me. She was also fearful about taking benzonidazole, the main drug used for Chagas, because it has potentially harmful side effects. For optimum impact, it should be taken in the first 2 months of the disease, but by the time the testing had been completed, 10 weeks had passed since the likely date of the bite. For information, Jennifer took benzonidazole and didn't react badly to it.
And do you deal with patients in later stages of the illness?
Yes,
See, what is the answer? In this audio, he didn't say unwillingness to accept that she was ill. Okay, in this audio, they didn't discuss about the option number A. And second, an inability to tolerate the prescribed medicine. That is also didn't discuss. Here they discuss um, for optimum impact, it should be taken in the first 2 months of the disease medicine. That is, she was also fearful about taking benzodiazepine. That is said in the audio, but here option inability to tolerate the prescribed medicine. It is not said in the passage. Okay. The main drugs used for Chagas because it has potentially harmful side effects. For optimum impact, it should be taken in the first 2 months of the disease, but by the time the testing had been completed, okay, 10 weeks had passed. 10 weeks already had passed since the likely date of the bite. So, for information, Jennifer took benzodiazole and didn't react badly. That is saying that means a delay between the initial infection and the treatments. Okay, already she checked that 10 weeks after she checked the disease, and there is a delay between the initial infection and the treatment. So that's the reason option number C is the correct answer. Okay, then come to the next questions.
I have a 62-year-old patient called Juan. 8 years ago, he was diagnosed with dilated cardiomyopathy, and Chagas was also detected in him. If he'd been tested for Chagas earlier in his life, his long-term prospects would have been better. A year after the diagnosis, Juan was found to have type 2 diabetes. This was dealt with relatively well, though his body did initially reject insulin. Juan took drugs for his heart, and for several years was reasonably stable, but eventually monitoring revealed severe cardiac deterioration. His experience is very much what you'd expect in someone who's had the disease for years, and it's reached the latter stages. There's no cure, and the main recommendations are rest, exercise, and appropriate diet.
I see. And what can be done to combat Chagas generally?
Plenty. Researchers
Got it? What is the answer? And incorrect. See, option number B and C is the wrong options. The an incorrect initial diagnosis result in this condition. Here, Chagas was also detected him. Here it is not saying incorrect initial diagnosis. So we can eliminate this option. Okay. And so the medication he took was largely ineffective. Okay. Here it is discussing about the Chagas disease. Here the medication he took was largely ineffective. Here it is not saying the medication he took. Okay. Here he is suggesting the main recommendations are rest, exercise, and appropriate diet. Okay, because the Juan is an old patient. Okay, 8 years ago he was diagnosed with the dilated cardiomyopathy, and Chagas also was detected. Okay, if I had been tested the Chagas earlier in his life, his long-term prospect would have been better. That's it. Okay. A year after the diagnosis, Juan was found to have type 2 diabetes. This was dealt with relatively well. This was dealt with relatively well, though his body did initially reject insulin. It was dealt with relatively well. Okay, but here not discussing anything about the medication he took was largely ineffective, and incorrect initial diagnosis is also done. So we can eliminate these two options and we can reach the final option. The development of his illness was typical of people with Chagas. Okay, so maybe you will hear these two options, or sometimes you will maybe you might think these options are they set in the audio. Okay, I thought if you listen almost 80 percentage 80% words almost same in the option, don't select that option, don't select. Okay, you have to eliminate, you have to eliminate that option. And finally, what option you will get, choose that option, don't worry, choose that option. Definitely that will be the answer. Okay, you have to follow this technique when doing OET listening part C. Then come to the next question.
Are working on improved drugs to treat it and a vaccine. None currently exists, but it takes at least 10 years to expect in someone who's had the disease for years to have type 2 diabetes. This was defect in someone who's had the disease for years, and it's reached the latter stages. There's no cure, and the main recommendations are rest, exercise, and appropriate diet.
I see. And what can be done to combat Chagas generally?
Plenty. Researchers are working on improved drugs to treat it and a vaccine. None currently exists, but it takes at least 10 years to supply a new drug. Another idea is to develop the existing drugs in tablets of different sizes. That could and should be done almost overnight. What's currently available is designed for adults, even though infants often have the disease. There are also some very important programs using insecticides and other methods to wipe out the bugs that transfer Chagas to humans, but initiatives like those take decades rather than years.
Well, Dr. Jack Robson, thank you very much for speaking to us today.
Here, the first option, increase efforts to eliminate the insect which carries parasites. That takes decades, he said. Here, the question is short-term priority. Short-term priority, what has to be? Here, design and manufacture a vaccine, viable vaccine. Here, he said, vaccine and a vaccine none currently exists. It takes at least 10 years to supply a new drug. So, that is also wrong option. So you can eliminate these two options. Then he said produce medication in a form that is suitable for children. Here, another idea is to develop the existing drugs in tablets of different sizes. Okay, that should be done almost overnight. That means short term priority overnight. What's currently available is designed for adults, even though infant often have the disease. So that's the reason option number B is the correct answer. Produce medication in a form that is suitable for children. So I told if you hear 80% almost same in the audio, 80% words are almost same in the audio, eliminate that option, eliminate. So definitely if you didn't understand, if you didn't hear the some of the sentence, some of the words in the audio, like option number B, he said this will take decades. Okay, you can eliminate that option. And option number C is also, so he said about the vaccine. So, but it is said it will take around 10 years to find out the medication. So that also we can eliminate. So, like the way you have to find out the answers in OET listening parts. Definitely, if you follow this technique, definitely you will get minimum 4 to 5 marks. Okay, definitely. Don't worry. Please do the practice. Please do the practice, and in this session you need consistent practice and more listening capacity, and you need more concentration. Okay, if you practice the concentration technique, I told you focus more. Focus. How to focus? Focus on a point. Okay, focus on a point. Listen something. So definitely, gradually you can improve your listening test. Still, I am doing. mm, Still, I am practicing listening test. Okay, so don't worry, and practice. But definitely, you can achieve good marks if you. And second, please apply my technique in OIT listening parts. Definitely, you will achieve minimum 4 to 5 marks in OIT listening parts. Okay, and another suggestions I would like to give you: do more concentration in OIT reading, OIT listening part A and part B. Part A, you have to minimum you have to get 22 to 24 marks, and part B and 4 to uh, mm, 5 to 6 mark. Okay, 4 to 6 mark. Okay, if you get minimum uh, 24 plus 6 total 30. Okay, if you get 28 to 30 marks, definitely you will achieve OIT listening part, OIT listening test. Okay, so do more concentration in OET listening part A and part B. Apply my technique. I told you in my previous video, I told you about some tips and technique. Apply that technique in OET listening part B. Definitely 100% you will get 5 marks. 100% you will get 5 marks. Okay. So apply that technique in OET listening part B, and part A, do the part A and underline the keywords in part A and find out the correct answers. Okay. If you practice these two modules, if you get the more than 28 marks in OIT listening part A and part, definitely you will pass OIT listening part C. 100% a guarantee. Today signing as Sanita. Please watch my videos till the end and subscribe my channel and like the press like button. Okay, thank you for watching. Today signing as Sanita.